I grew up believing that the Ferrari 360 was my dream car.
But as you can see, it looks nothing short of a nightmare. So I'm betting being able to finally live my dream on a $1,200 transmission.
Ferrari, 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 Ferrari.
But this gamble relies solely on me becoming the person to be able to save it.
Because according to Ferrari, this isn't supposed to be possible without their special tools.
In the last episode, we pulled the transmission out of the Ferrari because it was completely seized, and I bought the cheapest replacement gearbox I could find. But as you can see, it's just me in my garage, and all I've got is Harbor Freight. To start this off, I dove right in by removing the differential and the diff housing so I could see what I was working with. Soon as I pulled it off, you could see how much heat that this fluid took, and it stained the entire inside. But once I had the diff out, I moved to the back cover and I tried to remove the sandwich plate. At first I tried to pry it off, but if I damage that sealing surface, we're done. So I realized that the reverse gear was actually pressed onto the shaft, locking it into place. So I modified a Harbor Freight puller, and somehow it actually worked. With that off, the case was lighter, but it was still brutally heavy. But light enough that I could sacrifice what was left of my spine and get it onto my workbench to make it easier to work on. Now came the hard part. The gear stack is pressed into a race at the bottom of the housing. Took apart a Harbor Freight gear puller, I reversed it, and I put a socket underneath. And when I started to tighten the bolt, it pressed up against the gear set and the housing at the same time, and I saw the gear set start to move. Once the bearing was released, I could finally pull the gears out. They don't look that heavy, but they are very heavy. So I tipped the case on the side to help them out so I wasn't fighting gravity. Now I finally got my first real look at the damage, and at first, nothing obvious. So I started spinning bearings and everything felt pretty rough, dry, not happy. Then I got to the second gear. It was locked solid. So there it was. This is what locked up my transmission. So now it was time to disassemble the donor transmission, but this time I knew what I was doing. I got the diff out, I removed the back cover, and the first look inside, it was way better. No signs of coolant contamination, which was huge because these are very common. Then I went back up top and I removed the back cover, and I noticed something weird. The oil pump gear was missing, but luckily, we've got one from the old transmission, so I'm not going to worry about it too much now. It was the same process, and as soon as I pulled the gears out, the difference was obvious. My original set had been cooked, the oil got so hot and oxidized everything, but these, they feel good. And at this point, I feel like I really scored for $1,200. The input shaft in my original box felt rough, so I decided to swap it with the donor. To do that, I had to remove the throwout bearing assembly, and of course, Ferrari makes a special tool for this, but it costs over $250, and it takes a week to get. So of course, I grabbed a Harbor Freight claws foot, I ground it down with my grinder, and it had just enough clearance to fit around the bolt so I could get it out. And now the bearing and the shaft were pretty easy to remove with just a couple light taps and a hammer. But now that the case is empty, I could finally deal with the milkshake mess inside. And honestly, Dawn dish soap worked incredibly well. It's cheap, it's simple, it's effective, and whatever the Dawn dish soap left behind, I used some brake cleaner to clean that last little film. And now that we have it clean, the transplant starts. I first started with the input shaft and the bearing. I placed the old bearing on top and I gave it a couple of taps and it seated in. Next was the seal and the retainer. Now it was time to drop the gear stack back in, and these things are seriously heavy. I probably should have zip tied them together, but instead I fought them for a while and quickly realized there was no way I was going to get the selector forks lined up, so back out they came. And we tried again, and this time as one assembly. And once everything was close, I borrowed a special tool from Matt Armstrong to push the bearing home the rest of the way.
Ferrari, 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 Ferrari.
But to lock the gear set in, I used the factory recommended thread locker, not to just keep the bolts tight, but also to seal the threads. Once they were snug, I torqued everything to spec. Every step like this matters because if something comes loose in here, it's catastrophic. But while double checking the manual, I realized I had already made a mistake. There's a union for the oil feed to the diff, and that clearly says do not remove, but I had already removed it. So I just went ahead and reinstalled it with the recommended thread locker. Seems like crisis averted. Next was the sandwich plate. While I was cleaning it, I noticed damage on one side of the fitting for the cooler line, so I carefully filed it flat because the smallest leak can ruin everything we just did. And since the case is aluminum, I used a plastic razor blade to remove any old sealant that might have been left over, and I wiped everything down with acetone. I wanted to make sure everything was clean, dry, and perfect. Ferrari calls for Loctite 518 here. What's cool about this stuff is it only cures without air and in contact with metal. Anything that squeezes inside actually dissolves in oil, so you don't have to worry about it clogging or damaging anything. I lined up the shift forks, lowered the plate into position, and of course I used my factory-approved 2x4 to hammer it to spec. Last piece of the puzzle, reverse. To keep the springs and detents in place, I zip tied them, and as the gear presses on, the zip tie pushes itself out, and it worked perfectly. Now the back cover uses the same sealant. I placed it on, torqued the bolts, and just like that, we had a fully assembled transmission again. The only thing left, the differential. Like the good Ferrari tech I am, I put some new O-rings on the housing and I slid it in. And yes, another calibrated 2x4 tap to spec. This was a huge moment. There it was, a transmission completely torn apart and now rebuilt. But there's a big difference between something looking good and actually working. So I loaded it into my truck using exclusively my neck and spine. And I took it back down to Italian Design and Racing. Michael, who owns the place, offered to put it on his lathe so we could run it through its gear. If something was seriously wrong, we would know it right now. We strapped it down, reverse was perfect, then we moved on to the forward gears, one by one, and they all worked. There was a little chatter, but with no fluid in it, I think that's expected. Overall, this was a huge success. But here's the thing, we can't just throw this back in the car as much as I'd love to, because the transmission didn't fail on its own. Something caused it, and if we don't address that, we're just gonna destroy this one too. And of course, we live by the old saying, while we're in there. So we're gonna do a ton of maintenance and make sure we bulletproof this thing for good. But before we dive right back into the Ferrari engine bay, we have to address the Harbor Freight sponsorship deal. It hasn't come through and it doesn't look like it's going to. So if you wanna see more videos from me and support the channel on all these crazy builds, we now have these Nostalgia Spec hats live on my website. And I spent the last few months designing them myself because in my eyes, nostalgia is powerful. Nostalgia is the reason why we spend all this time and money on all these old stinky cars to fulfill all those promises we made to ourselves when we were naive and young. There's no obligation, but if you want to support the channel, make sure you go to chefjoni.us and grab yourself a hat. So it's back into the engine bay we go. To reach the transmission cooler that caused this entire nightmare, the intake has to come off. Luckily, with how torn apart this car already is, it's not the worst job in the world. I pulled the fuel rails to get access to the mounting hardware, and once the nuts were off that hold the intake on, I gave it a tug, and I immediately realized this thing was not coming quietly. So I climbed in there, wrestled with it, and next thing you know, I yeeted it out. And finally, we had full access to the culprit, the failed heat exchanger that mixed the coolant with the gear oil and destroyed my transmission. I made a decision right then and there, under absolutely no circumstances is another one of these going back in the car. I'll show you my solution during reassembly. But at this point, I was so deep into this project that something became obvious. If this engine is this exposed, it might actually be easier to handle all the while we're in there's with it out. So yeah, I think we're pulling it out. And of course, this Ferrari had one more punch for me. While removing the coolant reservoir, I snapped a barb clean off, so what should be a 10-minute job turned into a 4-hour side quest. Luckily, my neighbor's an aerospace welder. I brought it over and he saved me. Huge shout out. But now we're over at Candela Customs for a powder coat since it bubbled while we were welding. If you're in Arizona, this guy is the real deal. I took my air box, I took my oil tank, everything came back looking factory fresh. But now we're back in the garage. I started tackling the wire, unplugging everything, and pulling back the harness, and for the first time, the engine bay started to look manageable. Except Ferrari hit a single P-clamp behind the timing cover that fought me longer than it should have to get this wiring harness out. Then I started to crack the AC lines after I tried to evacuate them, and yeah, they were not evacuated. Awesome. Once I let that air out for a little bit, I got the last few coolant lines off and the power steering pump loose. At this point, it was basically ready to come out. So I rolled my trusty Harbor Freight engine hoist out. I put the legs down and I got it into position, and I immediately realized I had made a huge mistake. The arm just wasn't long enough and the rear brace is welded in. So now I'm thinking, did I just tear this entire car apart for nothing? So my options are basically I can modify the hoist, which sounds like a terrible idea, or I could get creative. The one tool that has saved this entire build, the factory spec 2x4. The plan was simple. I was going to use my Harbor Freight jack, place the 2x4 under the engine, lift it off the mounts, and roll it back until I could connect the hoist. The first attempt went okay until I realized the headers wouldn't let me move far enough forward. So time to remove them, which is not fun. After fighting the bolts, I decided to try it with just one side off. And I'm not gonna lie, this was kinda sketch. I was balancing a Ferrari V8 on a 2x4 and a Harbor Freight jack. Probably not what Ferrari had in mind. But somehow, we got it far enough, straps on, hoist loaded, and now it was time to find out if leaving that header on was going to ruin my day. Left side, clear. Right side, clear. Front, clear. And just like that, it was out. As it sat there swinging in the air, again I was shocked. I rebuilt the transmission, and I just pulled a Ferrari V8 out of my childhood dream car. 9-year-old me is absolutely losing his mind right now. But now, the real work begins. We're making sure this nightmare never happens again.
Just a boy who was raised by the sea, finding out what this life could be. Well, I took my turn and I felt the burn. Now I'm banged up and on my knees.